Hey guys, apparently yet again I've made a video without sound. So this is going to be a short demo on how to locate official subject headings in a few different databases. As usual, I'm going to start from the Blackboard shell and access the library, the Leatherby library. I'm going to go to the home page, and I thought I would show you some databases that we've already looked at. So as usual, I'm going down to General Databases, and we are going to look at both Academic OneFile and Academic Search Premier. I'd like to point out that some other databases I like to look at, eBook, Academic, eBooks on EBSCOhost, and the OmniFile Full Text Mega. These are all EBSCO databases. I'm going to start with EBSCO. And by that, I mean, if you know how to identify official subject headings on one EBSCO database, you'll be able to identify subject headings on all EBSCO databases. So I'll probably save time by not showing you sample searches on each one of those databases, okay? So I'm going to do a basic search for child labor. I'm going to pretend that I am investigating American corporations who utilize child labor in developing countries to make their products, okay? And I'm not sure. I see child labor in developing countries. That's pretty good. You know, I have no problem starting just with a common search like that. So let's search Academic Search Premier with our keywords child labor in developing countries. And then what I want to do here is figure out which of my results are relevant. So there are 16 results here, not very many. That's probably because I did such a long search query, right? Compare child labor in developing countries to just child labor. If I look at child labor, it's going to find almost 3,000. So, you know, a lot of times the more keywords you put in, the smaller your result set. But hey, I'm going to go ahead and put this back because I think even with the smaller search set, all I'm looking for when I do a keyword search like this is a few good articles, okay? Because when I find an article that seems to be on point, like this, health impact of child labor in developing countries, right? Child labor and household land holding, right? Does child labor in certain developing countries mean that families in which children work are more apt to own a house, right? So what I want you to do for EBSCO databases, and right now, just so you know, not all of these are full text, and they don't have to be, because what I'm looking for right now are subject headings. So here I've got child labor laws. Here I have child labor government policy. Here again, child labor, okay? So that tells me that, hey, child labor actually is a good subject heading, right? So now I am going to go back and find those almost 3,000 articles. And from here, I might go ahead and limit my search to full text articles. If I wanted to maybe get some more current articles, right, I can play around with the date. And and then I see my first one is actually in Spanish, which I do not read, so maybe I could even limit my search to English. But here we go. Child labor and household composition. Let's see. Child labor and schooling in South Sudan. That looks good. What I'll often do is if you look over here on EBSCO databases, you can put things in a folder, right? And trust me, starting this week as you're going to be choosing your own topics to research, you're going to be working towards a big annotated bibliography and a literature review. You're going to want to start holding on to articles that look relevant and good. You only have to find 2 this week, but eventually you're going to have to find, 6 to 8 good sources. So why not now, as you run across them, hold them, right? And so it's really easy to do. You can just mark articles that look good, put them in your folder, come up to the top of any EBSCO database, and simply email, save, or print all of the articles in that folder. So that's pretty nice to be able to do that. But that was just an example of me searching an EBSCO database using a keyword search and then examining the subject headings that are right here. Okay, there's a siren. By the way, when I started this demo video, my neighbor was out with his blower and now there's a siren going by. So I'm sorry, I cannot do these in my office where it's much calmer. Okay, so I am now going to go back to the database list. I just showed you Academic Search Premier. And again, if I use ebook academic collection or EBSCOhost, I just want you to see how similar this interface is, right? So if it is an EBSCO database, it's always going to have the same look, and you're always going to approach it the same way, doing a keyword search, and then those subject headings should be, at least for the articles in English, front and center. Child labor, child labor. Okay, so now let me just quickly show you Academic OneFile, which is a Gale database. And it's a little more complex. I feel like the subject headings are a little more hidden on Gale. So let's wait for Gale to come up. I'm going to go ahead and try child labor because, hey, that worked on EBSCO. Sometimes databases speak the same language, sometimes they don't. And I have the same kind of strategy here, right? I want to find an article that looks to be on point. In fact, it does help in Gale to limit your search to full text articles. But I want to find something that seems to be on point. Here's Western Policy on Child Labor Abroad. I can click on this article to read the full text of it. And the other thing I can do is write down here related subjects. This will tell me child labor, there's an alternate British spelling, and then industrialized countries. So you can actually go right to subject searches on child labor, and then you can start getting jiggy and saying, hey, maybe put in specific countries like Indonesia or Vietnam, or just like I did, kind of a catch-all developing countries, and see what I can find there. This looks good. I'm worried that it's a 2000 article and it's about the economics of child labor, so I might not actually be able to use any of the statistics, but I sure would be interested for this project to see, oh, I did not have full text on. It's so frustrating. At MJC, the college I teach at full time, we have both Gale and EBSCO set up to automatically default to full text searches. So I have to confess, I've gotten really lazy and I forget to check that button. And then I'm driven mad. I'm driven wild with desire for articles that I cannot get full text. But anyway, I just think finding those good articles and then investigating the subject headings. And there I've got child labor and developing countries. So I could get really jiggy on Gale. I can actually do this on EBSCO too and just start, let's just show you here. I can, identify that those are both subject headings, and I can actually tell Gale, hey, give me every article you have that is attached this two subject headings, child labor and developing countries. And again, I get a much smaller set. And honestly, I like the smaller search sets. And if I limit those to full text peer-reviewed journals, I can easily go through and find articles that look good for me. And whereas in EBSCO databases, I put them in a folder, here on Gale, I save them and then I can come up here and get my saved folder and again send these to OneDrive. I can print these, I can email these. Okay, so that is my little demonstration of how I start with a keyword search and actually use the results of that keyword search to identify official subject headings. Sometimes keyword searches are all you need. Sometimes you find plenty. Sometimes you have to find the official subject headings. It really depends upon your topic. So I just want you to be able to be flexible and employ both keyword and controlled vocabulary searches. If you guys need any help identifying the proper controlled vocabulary for topics that you're interested in exploring this semester, just drop me an email. This is something I do all the time in my face-to-face class. I just sit down with students and help them with projects and help them identify good subject headings. And I don't see my online students face-to-face, so I can't sit down and provide that help, but I'm happy to provide that assistance via email or text, okay? So just get in touch with me, and good luck this week.